Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome back to episode 40 of the Tim Tebow Dynasty.
Have both come to the same conclusion. Tim Tebow's not an NFL quarterback. They know more than we do.
With Phil Simms, we have two teams today.
After that loss to the Green Bay Packers, apparently the media thinks we're an awful quarterback. Looks like we have to set out to prove them wrong. Today we have another home game against the Houston Texans. So far in our first two seasons, we are 4-0 against the Texans. So I'm feeling pretty good about this matchup. The Texans come into this game missing 4 players on defense and 4 players on offense. So we should be able to win this. We haven't lost to them yet. They do have a pretty solid defense. J.J. Watt still on the field. But I think we have the upper hand here. We are also missing on offense Maurice Jones-Drew, our starting running back, and our 4th-string receiver, who was our leading receptions getter last year. Second-year man, Zach Meile. He was out for 6 weeks. Golden Tate makes the catch and picks up the first down. But if you're watching our offensive line, which you should, because every game through these first 2.5 seasons, whatever, they've been struggling. They struggle all the time. I'm sick of it, but I'm pretty sure it's no matter where I go, I'm going to have the same issues. Maybe it's my play calling. Maybe I'm asking them to block too long because I'm expecting my receivers to have more time to be able to get open in separation. Maybe I should just chuck it up in the air. I do that a lot. I throw a lot of interceptions, but I'm working on that this season. I'm working on trying to set the record for completion percentage and cut back on those turnovers. Golden Tate makes his second catch of the game and his second first down. One other thing I'm going to be working on this season is keeping Ace Sanders involved in our passing game. The last 2 seasons, he's not my favorite target, so I haven't been going to him as much as I probably should because he does drop the ball more than I like. So this season, I'm going to ignore that. I'm just going to go to him. If he drops it, he drops it. Hopefully, we can make him a better receiver. Dwayne Harris makes a catch for 18 yards and a first down. He was actually a surprise signing in free agency for me. I didn't think we needed any more receivers. I thought we could have just brought back Griff Whalen and Cole Beasley. But instead, we decided to go with Dwayne Harris, who's actually better than I was expecting him to be. In our previous game against the Green Bay Packers, our offensive line gave up 4 sacks. Today against the Texans, they get a lot worse. We end up giving up 10 sacks today, over double what we gave up the previous week. I mentioned last year that the Texans took a quarterback to replace Matt Schaub as their starter in the draft. Well, this year they decided to take a tight end. Was their top pick. Their top pick was a 7th overall pick in the 2015 draft. So they took Javonte Grove, who's an 85. I would never use a first-round pick on a tight end. The best tight end in NFL history was Rob Gronkowski. He wasn't even a first-round pick. So on the previous play, Justin Blackmon caught the ball and apparently fumbled, but our coach is challenging that. So either we turn the ball over or it's still our possession. Now, to me, it looks like the ball comes out after his knee touches the ground, so he should be down, and it should not have been a fumble, but we'll see what the refs say. And just like I called it, no fumble. He is down by his knee, so we get to keep the ball. And I mentioned that the Texans have 4 offensive players injured. Yeah, one of them is that quarterback they drafted. That's why Colt McCoy came out onto the field as their quarterback. They do still have that guy they drafted, but he's hurt. So right now their starter is Colt McCoy.
Lewis is moved away from the tight end position to now a receiver in the slot. Good piece of tackling.
Now, I don't know what it is about the AFC South as a whole division, because for some reason I always have my best rushing game with Tebow against the Colts and against the Texans, sometimes against the Titans. But I even set the record last season for rushing yards by a quarterback in a game with Tebow against the Texans. So this year, I'm going to be scrambling a lot against the Texans and Colts. And that was my 5th interception of the season. This is only game 2. So far not so good. But our defense scored for us, so we still have the lead, 14-10. The Texans scored as well. So hopefully I don't lose this game, because that'd be my first loss in these 3 seasons against the Texans. Like I've mentioned, I don't know why, but the Packers have a worse defensive line. They weren't letting me really scramble that much, but the Texans are giving up these giant holes for me to just run through. That is when they're not picking up 10 sacks this game. They finished the game sacking me 10 times.
Well, if your offensive line's not good enough just to stop the pass rush, then you got to help them out. How do you do that? Well, you keep the tight end in, let him be an extra blocker, and you tell your running backs to help out too, blocking some of these defensive linemen.
The commentators always say that if you're getting sacked a bunch, have your running backs and tight ends block for you. I disagree, because the more people you have blocking, the less receivers you have out there spreading out the field, which means they could get double and triple teamed. So I think it's better to spread out the offense. J.J. Watt finishes off that drive with another sack. Not a great way to start off the first 2 games of the season, giving up 14 sacks on our offensive line.
Scrambling out of the pocket. Failed to pick up the first down, and they'll give the ball back to the other side.
I'll give the defense some credit here. They stopped them.
Luckily, our defense, even though they were in field goal range, held them to 0 points. Some positive news from my Madden franchise. I mentioned that Tom Brady retired after my first season, so he was in the league last year. So did Drew Brees. Well, now that Peyton Manning retired, guess who's back? Tom Brady. He went and signed with the New York Jets, and we will be versing him in Week 14 this season. That is, if he doesn't get hurt, because if he's hurt for that game, it's not really a big deal. We're just going to be versing Geno Smith, who's a garbage-ass quarterback. So hopefully Tom Brady's still there, and hopefully we have one of those classic legendary quarterback versus quarterback shootouts, 50 to 40-something. Hopefully I win. And just like last season, where I mentioned there was about 11 or 13, whatever, teams with free agent spots, which all got kind of technically filled. Everybody has a starter this year. Well, there's about several, again, I was briefly looking, of teams with veteran quarterbacks that could either be retiring or are free agents after this year. I'll let you know as the season goes who gets re-signed and who ends up having a spot for me next year. Here we called the timeout because we picked up the first down. We want to score one more time before halftime to either get a nice 14-point lead or at least a 10. Either way, I want to increase my lead a little bit before halftime. And with that scramble, we are now on the Texans side of the field, on the verge, hopefully, of scoring.
Lined up now as a slot receiver. He's looking to the right here on this throw.
Justin Blackman picks up another nice chunk of yards right there. Again, I want to mention that this season we are trying to break Calvin Johnson's record of receiving yards in a season, which he set with 1,964 yards. So hopefully we can get Blackman to 1,965 yards. Honestly, I'm not really a fan of the touchdown music this season. Kind of disappointing that we had to get rid of the music we had for the last 2 seasons. But that's what we're going to go with the rest of this season. Maybe next year we'll change it. Maybe next year we'll be on a new team. And we're back from halftime with a nice 21-10 lead over the Houston Texans, and we get the ball back. So we're just going to continue to build up this lead, hopefully not turn the ball over anymore, and hopefully win the game, making us 5-0 against the Houston Texans who did end up winning the Super Bowl year one. It's odd that the AFC South has now won back-to-back Super Bowls, Texans and now Jaguars. Maybe one of us will win it again this year. Hopefully the Jaguars again. They mark that as 4th and inches. I'm pretty sure I picked up the first down there.
Takes lined up in the slot. Out of the shotgun formation. Secures it with 2 hands.
Dwayne Harris makes an incredible catch for the first down. A play that I thought was about to get broken up by that defender. So that record for completion percentage by quarterback for a season, Drew Brees set with 74.4. Right now, after our first 2 games, we are averaging 75.5-ish. So we're pretty close to the record. Right now, we'd be breaking it, but we still have 14 games to go. So it's a stretch to say that we're going to break it this season, but that's the goal. And like I mentioned, that I'm trying to keep Ace Sanders more involved this year. It's not working very well because of his drops, because in the week 1, he had 1 catch. In this game, he finishes with 2 more for 16 more yards. It's because he drops the ball. I am throwing it to him. You do see me throwing it to him. It's just he has a lot of drops, and that's his issue, and that's why I don't like going to him the first 2 seasons. But this year, I'm going to keep forcing myself, especially when he's open, to throw it to Sanders. We again failed to pick up the first down on 4th down, and that time we fumbled. Luckily, our offense recovered the ball, but we still turned the ball over. Not only does our offensive line struggle at pass blocking, but apparently they struggle at run blocking too, or however you want to say it. They struggle all around. Or maybe Steven Ridley's just a garbage running back. But either way, when we get Cotton Deacon on the field, he's not really getting these big chunks of yards either. So it's definitely our offensive line that's the issue for this offense.
When you run the football like this, over a period of time, it's going to wear that defense out.
Through these first 2 games this season, I'm definitely our team's leading runner. I'm pretty sure I was last year, Jones-Drew, because of Jones-Drew's injury, which could end up being me as the leading rusher again this year. So it is what it is. I'm going for 3 straight 1,000-yard rushing seasons for Tim Tebow. Cotton Deacon gets his first 2 carries of his career, totaling for a total of 0 yards. Because first he lost yards, and he got those yards right back. So 2 carries, 0 yards. Not a great way to start off his career, but he is our 3rd string, so whatever. A first-round pick wasted. He does have 3 catches in these first 2 games. So far he's a better receiver than he is a runner. But that could just be our offense. If he was getting like 20 carries a game, maybe he would be a better running back. But that's not really the offense we have, especially when our offensive line isn't blocking. Justin Blackman would have picked up the first down right there if he would have just held onto the ball. Either way, he's going to get hit, so hold onto the ball. So after Justin Blackman put up only 61 yards game 1, today he's put up 76. So not a great start to breaking Calvin Johnson's record, which puts him at 137 total yards for the first 2 games. He needs to average 130 yards per game over the last 14 games this season just to break Calvin Johnson's record by 1 yard. So far in NFL history, only 2 quarterbacks have rushed for 1,000 yards in a single season. That would be Michael Vick and Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson having done it twice now. So far in 2 seasons in Jacksonville, I've rushed for over 1,100 yards both seasons. And in my first season, I set the record for rushing yards by a quarterback in a single season. Well, after how much running I've done in these first 2 games, not purposely, but it just happened, I only need to average 70 yards per game on the ground to break my record from season 1 for rushing yards in a season, which is pretty doable. I average about 70-75 yards per game over the first 2 seasons. So it's a good chance I might set the record again for rushing yards by a quarterback in a single season. I've also scored 2 rushing touchdowns in these first 2 games. With 14 games to go, I only need 12 more to tie Cam Newton's record for quarterback touchdowns on the ground in a season with 14. If I score 13 more, I break that record. Me and my offensive line goes again to prove how horseshit awful they are at blocking, giving up 3 straight sacks, because now it's 4th and 30. So, games like this make me want to leave Jacksonville and go to a team with a better offensive line. But then on the other hand, after that game against the Packers where Madden basically forced me to lose, I want to just set the league on fire right now. I want to break every record I can this season to prove that that Packer game loss by 1 point was the computer cheating me out of a perfect season. I go to scramble to pick up the first down. My stupid-ass offensive line trips me up, causes me to only get 1 yard. And this is something different that I'm going to do this season. I'm going to show the actual punt so that it's not just... It transitions better from each series, I guess. But if you guys don't like it, comment below that you want me to get rid of the punts, because they're not that entertaining to watch unless the other team returns one for a touchdown. That'd be cool to watch, but it's not my team. So let me know if you want me to get rid of the punts and I can keep it over my offense. On another note, in Jacksonville Jaguars history, the quarterback that has thrown the most touchdown passes for them is Mark Brunell. He has thrown 144, and so far through 2 games this season and the previous 2 seasons on the team, I've thrown 98. So by the end of this season, I'll probably be close to that 144 mark. Maybe next season I'll pass it if I'm still in Jacksonville. He is also the Jaguars' leading quarterback in terms of pass yards with about 25,000, like 600 something. I'm not close to that. I might get like halfway there by the end of this season. I'd have to play like 5 more seasons here, or 4 more seasons, depends on how I do. But I don't think we're going to continue that much with Tebow after this, especially if we win another Super Bowl and go somewhere else and win another Super Bowl. But like I said, after we do finish up Tebow's career, sooner or later, I don't know how many games we're going to go into his career, but we are thinking about either doing Johnny Manziel or Josh Rosen after this. Both were considered busts after being first-round picks in the NFL. So we're going to pick one of those 2 guys after Tebow.
Lewis is moved away from the tight end position to now a receiver in the slot. End zone bound, and he's got the touchdown.
Unless you guys want to see like a guy like Dwayne Haskins or another quarterback that you want to see me like redo his career. Maybe he was garbage and you thought he was going to be better. You can comment that below. But I might not even wait to the end of Tebow. I might just add in to the rotation of games I do a new career with somebody else and keep doing Tebow at the same time. If you guys want to see that, I could do that too. Our defense, after that Packers game, has played a lot better this game. But like I said earlier, we always play well against the Texans on offense and defense. So it's not really a surprise how well we're doing. Stephen Ridley should have had his first rushing touchdown of the season right there. But for some reason, he was jumping in the air at the end of that run and then got tackled short of the goal. Honestly, I'm not really loving that touchdown music. I'm trying to come up with something else. Haven't yet, so we're going with that. But it reminds me so much of like the old like Batman TV show. Like where they would like show like punches and pows on the screen when they would hit people. It reminds me so much of that show. Our defense continues to do what they do, and they got us the ball in great field position again. And with that touchdown, we basically sealed the game. 5-0 against the Houston Texans. Not really surprised. J.J. Watt has been a pain in my ass. And 42-13 is the final score for this one. Our next game is against another division rival, the Indianapolis Colts. And today's performance was good enough to get me the AFC Offensive Player of the Game. Hopefully the first of many this season, as I look to become the first player in NFL history to win 3 straight MVPs. Like always, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe, and check out one of our other videos. Or comment a player you want me to do instead of Tebow.